Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together, so close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your county veteran service officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
It's the two-fingered wave on a gravel road. It's letting the kids take dad's truck to prom. It's Friday nights under the lights of a hometown football field. Eustace Body Shop knows small towns. It's where our values are rooted. We treat our people right, and in turn, they treat you, our customer, right. And we give back to our communities. Not much more small town than that. Eustace Body Shop, small town service, big city technology.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Imagine a healthier, more active, physically fit version of yourself. If you've been putting off getting into shape, now is the time with the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping 10-Week Challenge. Our program combines kickboxing, strength training, and nutrition coaching to help you achieve your fitness goals. And ticket listeners, you can get $150 off your enrollment. The next 10-week challenge begins on April 12th. You can get all the info at fxblincoln.com. Don't wait any longer. Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping at 40th and Yankee Hill and 70th and Vine.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Fleet Feet Lincoln is excited for the upcoming spring season and the warmer temps, and they want you to get outside and be active. Fleet Feet's Fit ID process takes a free 3D image of your feet to help runners and walkers alike find comfortable tennis shoes and inserts that ease pain associated with plantar fasciitis, bunions, and more. Get back on your feet this spring with a trip to Fleet Feet, open 7 days a week at 77th and Pioneers.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
It's the problem no one wants to talk about, the middle child of driver safety. In the time of doing everything in the car with 3 screens and a surround sound symphony sending you somewhere sunny, driving takes a back seat to swiping and replying. And while you're eating and taking a sip from your drink, more than 14% of fatal and injury crashes are being caused by distracted driving. This is distracted driving for real. Let's start driving for real. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Derek Pearson, brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
All right, welcome in one-on-one with DP. Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, you guys are welcome to join in. 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. You can put a face to the voice. Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. DP, how's it going? Back in the studio. Working extra hours as always.
Hey, we do what we get to do. And that is the proper way to say, to speak about this thing. Right, that we get to do this. I have to have full respect for the really cool blessing that is that I get to come hang out with folks each and every day, and to share stories, to talk about the things that matter to us, hopefully that matter to them, and to go through it. 402-464-5685. You know it. You love it. Text line. If you want to text in and be a part of what we're doing, you can, and you probably should. This is a good one. Leadership will be the keyword and code word for this hour. Leadership, and specifically Lincoln leadership, love as leadership, and I think that's a part that gets lost often. That leadership has to have love attached to it. Otherwise, on both sides of it. Otherwise, it doesn't work, and it doesn't accomplish what its mission is. You can follow on all the video streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo, Channel 961. Again, if you have not downloaded the Ticket app, would be a great time to do it. Going forward with some really cool stuff coming up on the horizon, that having the app certainly will matter. I'm just giving it to you in advance, to go, hey, I'm not getting this one. Hey, get the app.
Yeah, there's gonna be ways to catch our content. So there's gonna be plenty of content to catch.
Yeah, just gonna let you know. You might wanna do that. You might want to do that along the way. Few things in place for the hour. And the beauty of one-on-one, especially late night one-on-one, is that who in the world knows where this thing ends up? Right, where the conversation ends up. It
half the times it ends in ABA.
Right, like it for several reasons. Yeah. Right, whether it be minor league sports, high school sports, professional sports, and that's an interesting thing. And this is why we do conversational radio. You can get locked into an idea and a thought and a concept, and then that idea may or may not deliver you to where you want to go, but as we were just talking about leadership in the very aspect of how it works here in Lincoln, here for the Huskers, here in general, here in the NBA, here in the Pro Volleyball Federation, being around positive leadership shows up. And it's kind of important that, here at the Ticket, can you imagine trying to manage this staff of elite, accomplished people, hard-nosed, hard-driven, successful people without having leadership skills?
Tell you right now, Jay Foreman's not listening to a damn thing I got to say if that's the case.
Right? That it happens, and you've all been around coaches who didn't lead from love. They didn't particularly care. Leadership has to be the phrase that I was given early on was "let's go." Right, it's the identity for leadership is let's go. And why that matters is let us go. All of us go. We have to forward it up is the idea of leadership. Retreat is not leadership.
That's funny. Every single high school team you see come off that football bus, they're always saying, let's go.
It really is so in faith circles and gospel circles, hallelujah is the signal that we're calling us together, and then we're celebrating the moment, right? And then for what's to come, right? Blessings in advance. It's a staple. But in sports, let's go is the thing that says, It is the announcement and proclaimment that we together go forward and up. And sometimes it's go forward, sometimes it's to go up and elevate, sometimes it's both. Ideally, it's both. You change your level and location. We talk about as a receivers coach, and I don't know if you've ever heard this, but I mean, I think Barry and I have talked about it, that a big part of training for receivers is one, first things first, which is win the route.
Yeah, this is
right. Win the
like
route. Second thing, right? So we know what direction you're going and how you're going to get there. It also tells you what time you need to get there, right? Because you can run a post pattern and it tells you an area that you need to be into. And if you're connected, the quarterback knows when you're going to plant the foot and get on the slant to the post. And where are the posts? Because you're lining up with the post. But is it a 7-yard post, 8-yard post, 9-yard post? Because the quarterback has to throw it. And he has to throw it in advance of where you're going to be. And if you're not on the same page, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Also, it's being defended. There's going to be friction. There's going to be resistance. So there's a certain window that it needs to be in. On time, on purpose. Right? And to not know, and then after the catch, at friction, when the ball meets hand, the receiver has to do two things on purpose. He has to catch the ball and change his level on the field and his location on the field. Plant the foot, catch the ball, plant the foot. And I need for you, if you catch it on the hash or at the numbers on the 40-yard line, at 41, you need to be at a different level and a different location. Otherwise, friction is coming with a hard helmet and some anger, some venom. So you have to know, okay, this is what we're doing. This is where we're going. This is how we're going to get there. And then I'm telling you why you need to do the thing that you need to do. I can tell you, Harrison, I need you to take 7 steps, plant the right foot, slant to the left at 45 degrees towards the goalpost. On your 5th step, the ball is going to be there. Now, I need for you to get your eyes around him to the quarterback on the first step of the plant, right? Because it tells you that you have done your job, you've won the top of the route, and you let a quarterback know that I see you. And here's why you have to see him. The quarterback is your best friend. He saves you, and he knows you have to do it together. So the quarterback has a responsibility not only to deliver on time and on purpose, but he needs to throw you open. The greatest crime that a quarterback can do is to throw you into traffic, can throw you into the crown of a helmet. So you have to see him. You have to see what he's telling you, because he can tell you, hey, the win for you on this route is on your 5th step in the slant. Or he can tell you, hey, there's a safety sitting in the middle of the field. I need for you to skinny that post, young man. I need for you to straighten that slant up and get straight to the post. Get vertical, and everything good happens forward and up. Right? Hitch routes, same thing, timing, space. I need you to plant the foot, set the leverage. You have to identify what the leverage is. Matter of fact, Harrison, you and I have to see the same thing at the same time all the time. Hey, man, we're going to run this hitch. And guess what? We see where the defenders are and how they're going to defend it. We have to know man coverage, zone coverage, man +1 over the top. Is it capped coverage? Is a safety sitting over the top of the route? Right? Is there a linebacker sliding underneath it?
So pre-snap, you're looking at Barry and you guys are on the same page.
We are. He sees what I see, and if we don't see the same thing, it is a wash. Barry will pull that thing down and become Lamar Jackson.
How long does it take to develop that type of chemistry, though? I always wonder about the NIL era we're in today.
Well, the NIL, but this a lot of this can happen in film. A lot of this can happen in practice.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it should. It should. But practice speed versus game speed, you use practice. Leadership is setting a design that in the offseason, it's the quarterback's job to figure out how quickly the receivers get into their routes and get out of their routes. Top of the route running is different than release. Some receivers are great release receivers. They get a win at the release. Very first step, they get a win. Right? Especially there's some that are better against man coverage. Some are better against press. Some absolutely hate having people put their hands on them. Quarterback has to know if I need a vert route on the outside, right side, wide side of the field. One, I know that there is a safety that has the responsibility deep from the middle of the field. Now, if I can hold him in the middle of the field, just a step or two, it gives me a step or two on my throw. It gives my receiver more room to win vertically in the outer third of the field. But some corners may decide, you know what, I'm taking away the outside release, right? So I've got to know. No point of me fighting a route on the outside if he's got outside leverage. I need to win inside, bend, and I need to stack him and then get vertical without bleeding into the middle of the field, because guess what? Big angry safety. Steve Atwater's back there. Troy Polamalu's back there, and I want no part of it. I want no part of it. It happens in that space that, okay, Barry, sometimes the win is at 15 yards. If I can beat him on the release and get it to me early, then I got the ball in my hand, and now that safety has to become a tackler and not a defender. And there are safeties, depending on who it is. Some, you want them one-on-one open field.
Mm-hmm.
Some, you don't want that smoke. But, hey, I like the option.
Yeah, that was like Isaac Gifford. Like, you wouldn't want that guy coming downhill at you, but you feel a little bit better if you test him in coverage.
Right? Ed Reed's back there. Sean Taylor's back there. I need to get as skinny as I can.
Yeah, Farley's out there. There's no way in hell.
Here's the thing. That also, but what we know with Farley is that Farley, from inside the number, could get outside the number as well as any linebacker in college football history. So that 12-yard win is out of it. Hey, man, cross that off your list. You're not getting that win, and it doesn't work for you, right? It doesn't work for you. Now, depending on game situation, moment, weather conditions, wet ball, it's raining. Footwork's not the same. Communication, leadership is communication in advance. It is knowledge of, hey, here's what we are doing. Let's go. Let us go. Can we do this thing? Trust is a part of leadership, big part of leadership, and building it up over time, right? That in football, as a running back, I have to trust the silverback sitting at left tackle. I have to trust him. Quarterback has to trust him, right? Because quarterback, his eyes are downfield reading, processing, delivering.
Mm-hmm.
He cannot and should not be looking behind his back. He has to trust more than anything else that all of the mechanics that he has put in repetition, high repetition, back foot plant, ball tucked and safe, that's his protection, right? That if by chance the silverback gets beat, at least I'm going to keep the ball, right? What happens is quarterbacks get loose with it and they get strip sack. Okay, problem. But leadership will say, oh, I like the matchup over here with this edge defender and my silverback. That is a win. I'm going to have 2.7 seconds to get rid of the ball. If I got a bigger win with my silverback against the edge, I may have 3.1 seconds to get rid of the ball. But hey, if it's Lawrence Taylor over there, I don't care what silverback I have. I've got about 1.4
on a good day.
Right? And I need for my receivers to know, and I need for the other lineman to know. And you find that out in tape, you find that out in practice, you find that out in simulation. That second group has to be able to put pressure on. There was a coach that I had that used to put an extra defender on the edge. So we would scrimmage against 12 or 13 defenders.
I feel bad for that tight end.
Well, because because then if you imagine when you hear
Or
people
that
say
tackle,
that we want it to slow down, we want the game to slow down. What you want is that there's less friction during live action than there is at practice. So in basketball, we will run our press break, right? So if you want to backcourt trap.
Mm-hmm.
Me as an offensive coach, I need to make sure. So I would ask for, hey, give me a sixth defender out there.
Yeah, now you sound like that
Right.
was our head coach,
Right.
Stefan. Just add another guy.
Add another guy, and let's take away a thing that we rely on, or at least let's make us really proficient at the thing that will always get us through. So in the middle of the floor, while it should work with numbers because most opponents want somebody deep, so they're willing to concede something. Well, let us still have to make good decisions with where the ball is going to go, when it's going to go, and what you're going to do with it. Now, press break at most levels, backcourt trap, there's a big in the middle of the floor that runs from rim to rim,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's literally the job of the big in that press break is to catch it, be big, because it's the easiest target, right?
Yep, turn around,
right?
hit your
Middle of
runner.
the floor, turn. But what happens if you force that big into being a ball handler? Chaos. So what you want them to do is to get used to, and through high repetition and through communication, right? There's the verbiage that's there. Like catch, turn, pivot, for them to understand quickly that, you know what? Secure the ball, get it to a tight location, then get your eyes busy. And if it's a thing that's missed so often that I need for, in each sport, I need for chaos not to happen. Winning teams remove chaos. That's leadership. And it's the ability to say, no matter what happens, no matter what they show us, we have an answer for it, and we've practiced it in full repetition. And so this is the full process, right? And to say, hey, big, catch, turn, protect the ball, eyes on. Now, if pressure comes, what do you do? Well, if it comes, where can pressure come from? It can come from behind, right? A guard coming from behind, digging. It can come from directionally,
Mm-hmm.
left, right, or direct on.
Yeah, could be right behind you when you turn around on your pivot foot.
Right. Now, here's what happens though. Unprepared, unled players will turn, panic, and try to do something that do not follow the rules of engagement. But good basketball teams and good basketball players will turn, pivot, and realize this thing, and this is a thing that we set in place early in every sport, and it doesn't matter. But specifically in basketball, in that particular case, if you catch the ball, turn, and do absolutely nothing, they can't score. They can't score. We may give them the ball and force them to set their offense, but we're not going to give it up in transition. We're not going to make a pass back towards our own basket that's picked off into a layup. We're not going to throw it to the wing to the most athletic defender on the floor in space.
Man, that is crazy. Now that I'm thinking about it, like how many game-ending turnovers happened because of a panic that led to a fast break to points easy. When it's like, if you would just, even if you turn the ball over, they got what, 0.5 seconds?
Like we would say, right? Because you have time.
Yeah, and turn it over by holding on to it too long, not throwing it wildly out of bounds.
If you do absolutely nothing, in most sports, you cannot be beaten. You can restart and reload and reset, right? Holding calls in the NFL in the offensive line, which happen far too often. Why do they happen? Chaos, panic. An offensive lineman gets off his leverage. He gets his balance wrong. He gets his core offline. He loses in a hand battle, right? And you say, what does he do? He panics because He needs to protect his quarterback. So what does he do? He grabs. He grabs because he's off balance. There has never been a drill worth a dime where the offensive lineman practiced grabbing the jersey and holding on. And yet, it happens all the time. Why? Because leadership has allowed it. Everything in sports is either taught or allowed. It's either coached or allowed. So guess what? I demand that my teams do not panic, because that means that, wait a minute, our drills haven't taught you how to punch and reload.
Well, sometimes you get away with it too. That's the problem.
Well,
You're commanders.
Well, but that's what happens with cheating, is that you get so used to doing it. You do it in practice at such high repetition. Well, guess what happens in the game when chaos happens? You're going to cheat. You're going to do the things you've done in practice. And quite frankly, unless you're the 94, 95, 97 Huskers, the toughest people that they faced every day was at practice. The practices were tougher than the game. So if you became disciplined and you were led well at practice in those championship eras, you didn't have to cheat. You didn't have to panic. There was no chaos when you went to Kansas. There was no panic. There's no panic when you went to Colorado. They may have had great players, but they weren't as good as the people you practice against. And so you learn to trust when you hear trust the process. Listen, there's never been you can go to Super Bowl practice, you can go to NCAA championship practice, and not once are they practicing to cheat. They're not once practicing to get a penalty. Leadership sets boundaries in place for sports to happen the way that it's supposed to happen. Bad leadership allows bad things to happen. You can be a good leader and just haven't gotten to the point where your team listens, or that they've practiced in repetition your way of doing it the right way. And the right way, listen, you want to know about a program or organization, ask them what the right way is. All great legacies are built on doing it the right way. You knew what a Tom Osborne team was. You knew what a Bob Devaney team. You ran the Wishbone back in the day. You ran the Veer. You had rules. Read, young man, read.
John Cook, same thing.
You listen.
Coach Klempa, Mark Manning, all the great coaches. There's a theme.
There is a rule of engagement, and being led means I set boundaries not to be a jerk. I'm setting rules so that you can succeed. And we set rules on this microphone and in this building that, listen, here's what I want you to do. Talk about what you know. Talk about your experiences. Have conversations about the things. Be curious about the things you don't know. Like, why is this the way this is? I'm fine with that. But you can only get in trouble when you go rogue. When you go rogue or you panic. Leadership is the ability to remove chaos. And here's the phrase that we'll go to break with. And it has led me in a coaching career. It's led me in a business career. When chaos happens, slow down. And chaos ceases to exist. One-on-one on the ticket. We'll be back.
Get ready for spring by joining an evidence-based program to improve your health and well-being. These programs use proven strategies to help you make lasting changes, whether it's boosting nutrition, increasing activity, managing stress, or enhancing wellness. Invest in yourself today and feel your best this spring and beyond. Paid for by the Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Nebraskans are proud of their public schools. Hi, I'm Tim Royers. As a Nebraska Teacher of the Year, I traveled across the state and saw the value public schools bring to our communities every day. They're where our kids get the skills and opportunities they need to succeed. They're where families come together to enjoy a musical, cheer for our teams, talk with teachers, and build trusted relationships. Strong public schools create strong communities.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them, perhaps on a date, and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People's City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Nebraska Veterans Aid is here for veterans and dependents facing unforeseen financial emergencies. Get assistance with food, fuel, shelter, clothing, transportation, and even funeral and medical expenses. If you're a veteran facing a financial emergency, apply for Nebraska Veterans Aid through your county veteran service officer. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/NVA. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, it's me, your cell phone. We need to talk about something serious. I know you love me. I know you like using me wherever you are, but I feel like this isn't working out when you're driving. I know you may think that it's possible to focus both on me and the road, but I just don't feel the same way. I think we should spend time away from each other when you're driving. It's for the best.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball. You're listening to One on One with DP. Sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Again, one-on-one on The Ticket. And I had the opportunity to be on a panel today. Why leadership came into play and as part of the discussion, and it was pretty exceptional. An amazing group of folks. I was on a panel with teammates own Des Moines Adams. I was on the panel with Mark Waltz from Farmers Mutual, and an impressive man, CEO, that he sharing his leadership mantras, the things that carry him. And then you understand that how those companies have such great leadership and standard. They're having success even in the insurance business, having it at a high level. Lincoln is blessed to have somebody that's leading their think about leadership. Insurance is leadership. It is the comfort of knowing what to do when chaos happens. You want to understand. If you really want to understand.
Yeah, there's a lot of options.
Right,
In insurance that you gotta have covered.
Right. That to know that you have it covered. It's absolutely that defined, that they have policy and protocol in place, that when chaos happens, slow down, call us. We have a plan. And if leadership is saying in advance of chaos, we have a plan. And it was really cool just to be in the room. Also, Mike Smith from the Bay.
Oh yeah, I got to meet him. Bigger than the score. Cool guy.
Yeah, very cool. Unique leadership, community leadership, and all of these folks were community leaders who happened to be in the same space. And to have him explain what the Bay is, that for the Pirates and Rebels and the free skaters, right, to have a place to unite and be great. The the freedom to make mistakes, grow outside of the line, but to still have boundary for that, right? That amongst chaos, which is what skating is, or to put boundaries in place and to put a space for it, right? For you to take protected and calculated risk. That's what the Bay has done, and they built it, and now they're expanding. They've got they
got the Bowie Boys. I think that's their name. They got like millions of followers or something.
Right,
It's crazy.
Right to go through it, and then Rich Clausen from Olsen, who moderated it, and he spoke, and I'm grateful for him. He had some very kind things to say about the ticket, and that the ticket being down here and doing it as we've done it sort of makes Lincoln feel like it's a big city, right? That look, we have a thing that actually ranks.
Yeah.
Actually,
I got a kick out of it.
Right?
When the FFA, I'm sure you saw the millions of denim jackets walking through Lincoln. We had a group from the Elgin area on Take a Weeknights, and that's all they just wanted was me to shout out Elgin. And they probably about, 30, maybe even 35 of them just all right by the window, just freaking out. And then they can see me say Elgin, and they just lose their mind. And it's like, that's the ultimate small town kid from Nebraska. You go to Lincoln, you think Lincoln's a metropolis.
It's huge. It's a big deal, right? And to say that the thing that connects us, is that Lincoln has in its boundaries some really remarkable leaders, some really great people. You think about how important it is, and it didn't hit me until somebody came up and said afterwards, it's nice to have another coach as a business leader, because they know that from sports, there are rules that apply and certain standards being set. And for people, we're the eyes and ears and voice of downtown Lincoln. Like, we sit here in the window and we see it. Look, we know when something's going on big in Lincoln. We know when it's quiet in Lincoln. We know when the weather's good, the weather's bad, but we see all of this stuff here. And what they said was that formally just run through the Gary Pettits and the Bob Devaney's and the Coach Cooks, right? The Coach Osborne's, that sports set the standard for boundary, character, integrity, all those things. And that because those are the people who led the most prominent Lincolnites, right? That the people that you knew the most, those are the people that had say so and was able to give direction. And you also recognize that when they were having difficulty boundarying the young people, the rest of the state had problems too. And it happens. And you go to any high school in the country, and you want to know how the kids are doing. Look at the sports teams. Look at the sports teams. Because those are the people who dictate what's cool and what's not cool. The coaches get to determine what the boundaries for engagement. It was my role as a leader at a high school to make sure that this collection of 50 to 75 young men treated everyone well, that they were proud of themselves and carried themselves as though they were proud of themselves, that they knew the importance of academic success, that they knew the importance of being a community leader. They were no longer anonymous, right? Because you wore the school's name every Friday. You wore the school's name and your name. And if you weren't doing something that you were proud of when you had that on, you didn't get to wear it. And people were proud of you. They were proud of the name on the front, and they were proud of the name on the back when it was handled properly. And then you look at the biggest machine in the state of Nebraska and how important it is for Matt Rule and the Husker football program to get it right for a variety of reasons. We know that Lincoln is a much more pleasant place to live when the Husker football program's winning.
Yeah.
We know that everybody's in a better mood when the football program's in a better mood.
Yeah, the local businesses are having better numbers.
You know what we love about Nebraska football right now is that it has a face. It has somebody that represents that you can actually be proud of Dylan Riley.
He does it really well.
Right? That you go through and you understand it, that, okay, you're getting there. And for basketball, why it's so important for these student athletes to get exposure and for these coaches to get additional exposure. The beauty of Nebraska wrestling was you made the decision 5 months ago to give exposure to, because there's nothing to be afraid of or nothing to hide in Nebraska wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Each and every person on that wore that in on their chest was a superhuman, and they were carrying themselves as such, right? On the mat and off. So you knew they were putting in great work. You knew that the coaches, oh my goodness, speaking at this leadership event today, Terrell was the featured keynote. And he's so rock steady and so rock solid and so purposeful. But wait a minute, that's a pretty good lieutenant.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good right-hand man for Mark Manning, because he needs a force, right? And then, there's Coach Snyder. It's a force. That dude's a beast. Oh, and next to him is James Green. The dude's a unit, right? But he's also a great man. And the community is affected by it, because those young men, when given exposure, bright light, exposure, situation, circumstance, those young men carry the rules of the highest for Lincoln, for the University of Nebraska. They carry it in the highest and fullest. We were so proud of Nebraska volleyball, right? Because we got to show the best of Lincoln, the best of the University of Nebraska, the best of student athletes, the best of fan appreciation and fan support. Nobody else could do what Nebraska could do. And the young ladies who were out there, oh my goodness. Like, how proud is everybody of Lexi Rodriguez and Allie Baton-Horse, and to go through Harper Murray, to go through and watch these young people grow. And now you have a face for all the young ladies that will follow Nebraska volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
You have a face that you can be proud of, and you can have actions that you're proud of, and that the rules, and you can say, hey, the most famous woman, Jordy Ball, in Nebraska athletics is somebody that you can follow. You can emulate. You can live like, you can make the same choices and work at the same level and achieve the same greatness. Be like Jordy. Okay, wonderful, outstanding. Right? You want to be like Harper Murray. You listen. Oh my goodness, we can make mistakes and still excel.
Yeah, that's the beauty of like
Like,
a
we
lot of the
can-
athletes. Even a guy like but Bryce Williams being a little bit
Yep.
upset after some of those games, just like owning it.
Juwan Gary, right?
Yeah, I almost got a little bit teary-eyed watching the recap of the College Basketball Crown, not gonna lie, because like you listen to a guy like Juwan Gary and you're like, that is one of the best ambassadors you can ever have for the university.
And we were late to the party.
Yeah.
We were late to the party. That Bryce Williams, and we say that because he didn't talk as much and we didn't see as much. And shout out to Thomas Villianco for bringing him on and having those conversations, right? But they have to do better. But we love Sam Hoiberg.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Jeff
guy
Grace the third too. Everybody caught on to how great of a kid that is.
We love them because they give us, in a community, leadership requires a standard and an example. You can't just say that, be like Sam Hoiberg. You have to see how much work Sam Hoiberg has put in behind the scenes as an academic all Big Ten, right? And an undersized Big Ten starter.
A lot of criticism before he got on the court.
Like, why is he here? How is this happening? Oh, he's a kid's son. Well, he's a coach's kid. Well, here's the thing. There's additional burden and responsibility of being a coach's kid, right? There's some knucklehead stuff you can't do. There's some fun stuff you can't do. And to make that choice on a regular basis to be the example and have Sam Hoiberg put himself out there and go, you know what? I'm going to come in and talk to y'all once a week, even when I'm at the end of the bench or even as a walk-on or even, and Jeffrey Gray says, listen, he's the exact example of what you want this to be. Somebody that loves being here, puts in the work. He works way harder than the payoff.
Yeah.
Right? We know that because we see him drag himself in here and he's tired from a workout or a second workout or a third workout of the day, and he never complains. Not once does he complain. He handles the academics. He handles the practices. He handles all of the social media stuff and all the involvement. And then what happens? Because we're proud of him and we build a relationship that when they win the crown, Jeffrey Gray shows up and says thank you and allows us to say thank you to him. And Lincoln is better for it. They're absolutely better for it.
Mm-hmm.
They're better Like, think about that. The Antrell Taylor wins the national title as a sophomore, Nebraska's own. Well, you don't think that you just gain the respect of the next national champion wrestler that's growing up in the state of Nebraska, who now can see eyes and imagine himself in the Husker gear, wrestling for Mark Manning or the University of Nebraska, trying to be like Antrell Taylor or trying to be like Ridge Lovett, right? And understanding how hard Ridge Lovett worked. And the fact that, listen, they both get the friction of Brock Hardy, the number 2 wrestler in the country. They get the friction of James Green, USA's best in his weight class. Right? That you get to represent Mark Manning and to understand how important it is to have somebody that you can emulate at the top of your pyramid. And it is the North Star.
Yeah, well, we had some people calling when Antrell Taylor was on. A young, I think a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Talk about those eyes that you inspired.
Isaac, right?
Yeah, shout out.
Right? Shout out to Isaac. He made it. He made this thing worth rooting for, and it makes it easier for you to become vested, emotionally invested, consistently in what being a Husker is, what being from Lincoln, Nebraska is. Look, I'm learning more and more what it means to be a Husker, what it means to be from Lincoln, Nebraska, what it means to live here, what it means to be in this state. And when you meet, I'm saying this again, and for business, if you've got a business and you aren't a part of Leadership Lincoln, you should find your way to it, because the event was they had it at Turbine Flats out here on Y Street.
Okay, nice.
And to be in the room, great meal. Thank the folks from Weeder White, right? Seth fed everybody. We need to get them down here to feed the ticket and let folks know about who they are and what they do. I'm told the best chicken salad in the area, the best chicken salad sandwich in the area. That's what I'm told. So we'll talk that, but Seth will reach out here in the future. And then there was just a list of amazing people who spoke, 2 different panels, 2 different conversation groups along the way, and then the group, of course, that I spoke of. So it was a great day, and a good. I felt better. I felt more surrounded, more connected, because there's
community does that to people.
Yeah,
community is important.
Well, we need to work on that, because the other option is not good. So we will stay connected. We'll go to break. We'll finish up one-on-one when we come back.
It's the middle child of driver safety. Ugh. It's like that scene in a movie you don't want to see, thinking, it won't happen to me. In the time of doing everything at once with 3 screens and taking meetings and eating in the car, it's not easy. But when driving takes the back seat, distracted driving causes more than 14% of fatal and injury crashes every year. For real. Let's start driving for real. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de the Alzheimer's Association y the Ad Council.
It seems everyone is online these days, including our kids. I'm Tim Royers, a parent, a teacher, and president of the Nebraska State Education Association. As parents, it's up to us to keep our kids safe online. Stress the importance of privacy. Remind your kids never to share personal information, and that not everyone online is trustworthy. Monitor their online activity, and let's make sure our kids stay safe in our digital world.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People City Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Mario fue pintor más de 30 años. Cuando me dijo que se le estaban olvidando las cosas, fue difícil. Un día me dijeron que pintara el marco del lado por dentro y pinté el lado de afuera.
Yo le diría a la gente que le diga a su familia lo que está pasando con él.
Si algo se nota diferente, podría ser Alzheimer. Es momento de hablarlo. Visita alz.org/nuestras historias para saber más. Un mensaje de The Alzheimer's Association y The Ad Council.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the 2nd season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball. You're listening to One on One with DP, brought to you by Canopy Street Market on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
From the text line, and I appreciate this. Gus, how you doing tonight? Appreciate you hanging out with us late. Gus says, do you think Sam could be a ball handler at the point? But he also plays defense like it's going out of style. I think that he can. I think the ask is a big ask.
He's still a little too turnover prone in that area for me to like him.
Well, but it's the chaos.
If this is something where this is Fred Hoiberg, I got to think of all the guys we got. We got Cooper in there. We got Jamarcus Lawrence back. We got Sam Hoiberg. Like, do you need him to do this if that's not his best skill?
Here's the thing. That in Big Ten play, there are moments where pressure happens. Facilitating the offense, not a problem. Sam can facilitate the offense. If you told me that we gave Sam Hoiberg 6 months to prepare himself to ball handle in the Big Ten, Sam Hoiberg will figure it out.
Mm-hmm. I got no problem. To me, it's like, is that the best version of Sam Hoiberg? And it might be.
Well, I mean, but the best version also probably isn't Sam Hoiberg at 2. He is who he is.
Mm-hmm.
But what we also know is that he will handle the ball so much that 3 turnovers a game aren't going to be fatal. He wants it under 2. You want it under 2. You want to average under 2 because he touches the ball so much. And he's at so much duress and under so much duress and at so much risk.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is this team with Sam on the 4, his plus minus is better because of the defensive end and his shot selection. Now, I want him to take more shots. That's actually a thing, but he's got to feel comfortable with that. And in the space, and we don't know who the other people are going to be, but it may be his job to penetrate and kick. I'm okay with that. But whatever version of Sam Hoiberg you need for the next 5 months, listen, I'm not betting against Sam Hoiberg figuring out anything.
Yeah, that's where you feel best about him.
Yeah, I'm not.
He won't say no to whatever challenge Hoiberg has, or Fred Hoiberg has.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to give you 5. I'm going to give you 5 months to figure out how to ball handle. Yeah, it's ball handle.
I mean, look at his 3-point shot.
And
look at the weight he put on. First it was muscle. Then, first I think it was 3-point shooting. Then it was muscle, and it's like check.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
It's decision, and he's going to make. He's a coach's kid. He knows the thought process and the decision making as well as anybody in the Big Ten. He knows what Fred Hoiberg wants. What's your thought process? He knows. I want to shout out some of the other leaders who were there today. Jane Ferreira, Tarina Webster from Malone Center was there. Brittany Planos was there. Joe Lionberger. Great stories. Kim Morrow, Susan Long Henry, and Jonathan Reed were all there in leadership in the conversation as well. And of course, Rich Clausen, Mike Smith from The Day, Mark Walsh from Farmers Mutual, and Des Moines Adams. I appreciate you all. And of course, Tavel Delagnev from Husker Wrestling was there giving the keynote. And it's just, he's a dude. He's a dude, but he walks in faith, and he carries a lot of chest and chin with him. So it is a thing. But Lincoln, to your leadership, I raise my glass. Well done for you folks being out there and sharing your wisdom and your hearts with this fine town that is Lincoln, Nebraska. I appreciate you hanging out with me one-on-one. We'll greatly appreciate it. I'll be around Saturday and Sunday talking a little ball, so you don't have to miss it. We'll have the breeze on Sunday, and it's going to be a good weekend here in Lincoln. So.
Absolutely. And it's still going to be a good night. We're not done yet. What's Brewing? Chance Brewington up next.